horrible night for them.
Yeah, it was horrible. Started so well, though. You know, obviously, with Paqueta's goal, started well. That's how you want to start. It's sort of like reaction from the weekend. You know, conceded 3 goals against Sunderland, losing in that manner. And then after that, to be honest, it was similar to Sunderland. You know, they concede 1, and Dan Tools. It was a horrible night. You know, to concede 5 goals at home. You know, in a London derby. You know, you can lose football matches, but it's the manner in which they lose the football matches. And you see the goals avoidable, no fight. Really disappointing.
Chelsea throughout, they're dropping that ball, Neto or Enzo, into the near post every single time. And I think after last weekend's, West Ham were terrible from dealing with crosses and set pieces. You'd think they've been working on that all week, and don't mess. Just be good at that. Be good at that, and they wasn't tonight.
Would be incredibly disappointing because post-match the comments from Potter were all about we didn't defend our box, we didn't too well with those kinds of balls. We in the build-up we're talking about how they lined up with 5. You talked about the importance of the defence tonight.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's the hardest thing to do in football, but it's the easiest thing to coach, right? Because everything's there. The plan, the positioning. But we're going to see Wan-Bissaka for the 2nd and the 3rd goal having a problem, right? And it's got to come with a mindset and a determination to defend. And that's the worrying thing for me looking at that West Ham team, Jay, is because I looked at that, and after the first weekend, if that game would have finished 2-1, I don't think we were sitting there thinking, oh, I'm worried. I think Chelsea are a better team than West Ham at the moment. But it's the manner in which they defended, the lack of concentrations. They just was off it from the start. Like it's almost like you lull it. You're just hoping. You can never hope that the ball doesn't go as a defender. You've got to be in your mind, what if it goes in, and what if it goes in there, what if it goes in there, constantly on alert all the time. And he just switched off and he cost his team. And
I just felt like every time I did it, you know, the goalkeeper would say to someone, basically, come and move him out the way, because I need to come and punch or catch or whatever it is. Just no communication. You know, I think for a goalkeeper, you got to dominate that position. You know, if you come and punch heads, you've got to come and punch heads. But, you know, when you come out and you're flapping and you can see the goal like that, when the side's struggling anyway, it's difficult.
Yeah, great way for him to mark his 100th Chelsea appearance with the goal for Moises Caicedo.
It's a difficult time for the club, it really is.
You're trying to look for like the positives, and you think, what's the positives? You can lose, and I think the only positive, obviously, Carl Palmer coming back. Callum Wilson looks sharp. I think when he gets up to speed, you know, he was unlucky with the header. Potts, the young lad. They're the only positives, really. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we're just looking there at the biggest wins for Chelsea over West Ham, and this one tonight has shot up to 2nd on that list. So a remarkable night for Chelsea. But as you mentioned, on the other side, then there is the West Ham and everything that went wrong for them. It started so well. They had a chance. In fact, they thought they were 2-1 up with Füllkrug. But from then onwards, the mistakes just cost too much. What does Potter say to the team now? What could he be saying in the dressing room?
I think it's a difficult conversations. A lot of times, you know, managers, he might not say anything. You know, it might. I'm sure you'd have a meeting. You know, they might be off tomorrow. You'd have a meeting and sort of like go through, you know, what you've done wrong. You know, the goals that you've conceded. But it's disappointing because, like I said, you know, when there's ways that you lose football matches. To concede 5 goals, especially in a game like this. You know, it's always been a big game against Chelsea. You know, you've let your fans down, you let the club down, but, you know, you'd definitely be looking for a reaction.
Looking at those fans there, this is the time of the season when fans, the optimism is at an all-time high. It's a clean slate. Your hope is still really high. But those West Ham fans have gone there for the first home game of the season, and they've seen their side battered tonight.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they would have... I think they would have wanted bigger names to come through the door. You know, like, I think West Ham, they climbed the mountain when they won the Conference League and they got to the Europa League semi-final, and it was some beautiful nights at the club. And then where are you going to go? The German director of football come in, Steiden, with this big reputation. He wasted a lot of money. You can only look at it one way. Then all of a sudden it's sort of like that momentum's then stopped. Then what did the club do? Lopetegui comes in, which I thought was a strange appointment in itself, because I looked at his reputation, his record. There was nothing in it that made me think, if you're going to get a big name, go and get a really big name. He was sort of half a big name. You know, he'd been at Real Madrid in Spain, but hadn't really done anything. And then Graham Potter's come in and he's trying to he's trying. I feel for him because it's a difficult situation. It's a broken squad who are there, and I think the club is at a crossroads now where they'll be thinking, right, where do we go now? Do we stick or twist with Graham Potter? I like Graham Potter. I think he's a very talented coach. I just know I just know from the club playing at the club, JD. It's like they won't have liked what they've seen in terms of the energy, the enthusiasm and the drive. And I think once that goes and that anger comes into, it's very difficult to turn it round. You have to be a brave, they need to sign brave footballers now before the window to drag that club, or it's going to be a long season. And by the way, I think all the promoted clubs are better than last year. So West Ham could be it's 2 games in, but you could be looking at that end of the table rather than a bit further up.
And at home as well, that's just 2 home wins in the Premier League in 10 matches for West Ham under Graham Potter. Very young indeed, 18 years old, and written his name into the Chelsea history books already after his first 90 minutes, starting because of Cole Palmer, obviously, injured in the warm-up. But as we just heard from the manager, and we'll break this down, Cole Palmer not 100% in midweek. In the warm-up, they decided not to risk him. Estevão is 18 years old, asked to come in, and he puts in a performance like that.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult, particularly when you're a young man and he's coming in. And he affects the game. Like you said, he's not the finished article. He's a baby. He's 18. But he's direct and he's fearless, JD.
Yeah. Youngest player to get an assist for Chelsea in the Premier League. That's amazing. He's just direct. He should have scored it, to be honest. I think, but he's 18 and he'll learn that. In the final third, be more efficient than that. But even like back tackling there, but I like when he gets it and the change of speed, it just drives at defences, and a lot of time it picks the right pass. It's quite mature in that way, but just really sharp and like it's here.
Do you know what he does so well? These little touches here, these extra touches here. You watch the great Brazilian players that we've seen. Wow. He gives me Neymar vibes, but he takes them extra touches where it's just a little touch from the outside of his boot, and he drives and he makes time for himself. It's a joy to watch. Football fans know what they like, and they knew they loved this kid from the first time they met him, and they're excited. You can sense the excitement when you go to Stamford Bridge. They've got a player that they're looking forward to watching, who's going to get their backsides off the seat.
Like you.
Yeah, well, of course.
Graham Potter looking absolutely distraught after that performance from his West Ham side. Where to from here? Yeah, well,
listen, for him, it's coming in and really picking the bones out of his players and having that heart to heart. I know it happens across football constantly. You have to figure out what you are as a team, and I don't think what West Ham are trying to become is what they need at the moment. They need to go back to basics and start defending well. You can't concede as many chances from set pieces that they have in the first 2 games. I don't care how good players you've got on the pitch. If you don't do the basics right like that, I think from Graham Potter's perspective, he's got to cut out the noise. There will be people talking about his job. It comes with the territory. He knows that he's a big boy. It's being a Premier League manager, but what he needs to do is he needs to go and look at his players in the eyes and figure out which one to use with me. Then that's crucial.
Got to keep clean sheets. Because no point we spoke about, obviously, we spoke about Joao Pedro a lot. Callum Wilson, man. But you can't keep clean sheets, you can't win.
All right, what a performance by Chelsea. Going 1 goal to nothing down in the first half, and then reacted amazingly, and then scoring 5 goals away from home. Now that's amazing. They won 3 goals to nothing out there at London Stadium last season, but this is different. Last season they dominated from start to finish. They didn't go a goal down, but here they went a goal down and had to show courage, had to show character, to come back into it, and they did amazingly well, coming back into the game and then securing 5 goals to 1 victory. It could have been more, because I felt Estevão could have converted that particular wonderful assist, a wonderful pass between the lines, from Reece James, but unfortunately his attempt was blocked. But that's by the way. Chelsea, their first game, they didn't, create enough clear-cut chances, let me put it that way. You know, the little they created, they missed it, and it ended 0-0 against the Crystal Palace. But tonight, you know, Tosin came into the team for young Asian Punk, and Tosin, I mean, the amount of line-breaking passes that Tosin, you know, played today, I mean, incredible. It's incredible. I keep telling people, in terms of line-breaking passes, he is the best player for Chelsea, you know, at that. If that's what Chelsea are looking for, they have it in Tosin. I know that defensively he's not on the same level with Colwill, especially aggression. But in terms of line-breaking passes, he does it better than Colwill, who is currently injured. And he showed it again today. Honestly speaking, I wasn't surprised though. I know he had it. He takes it effortlessly. Like I have the needle passes, and like once the space is there, he's playing it. Nothing. I mean, he's never scared, and that's serious quality to have in a centre back. And Chelsea enjoyed that today. Then. Cole Palmer didn't start the game. He was supposed to start and then felt something during the warm-ups and then was substituted for Estevão, you know, who came in and had one fantastic assist. Well, of course, he gave the ball away that led to the first goal, but he's a Brazilian man. You know, Brazilians do Brazilian things, you know, so you cannot blame him, and he's still young. He doesn't understand that in the Premier League that transitions are very dangerous, extremely dangerous, but he will learn. He will learn. But then again, overall, he had a very, very good game. Apart from that flick that led to the goal that he got wrong, he had a very, very good game with one assist, you know, making him the youngest ever Chelsea player to record a Premier League assist. So another record, a new record for the young guy who just came into the club from Palmeiras of Brazil. Well, Chelsea scored 3 clean corner kicks tonight. You know, I don't even know the last time they scored that much from set pieces. You know, last season I'm not even sure Chelsea scored up to 10 goals from corner kicks last season. I'm not sure, and they just got 3 in one game. So watch out for more corner kicks from Chelsea, because they are taking that near post. Close to near post corner kicks, and it seems to be dangerous. They did it a few times against Crystal Palace. It didn't work out, but it was dangerous each time they did that, and they did it tonight and got 3 goals out of it. So it feels like they have added a new weapon to their arsenal, and Chelsea will be dangerous this season. That's for sure.